Hey, everybody, I'm Anthony Conklin, and this is the Anthony Conklin Show, where we interview entrepreneurs and leaders and icons in their industry. We help entrepreneurs and business owners build a rich called why by connecting their passion and their purpose. I have a very special guest on my show today. Forbes magazine calls him a wild entrepreneur. So I want to make sure that you understand the type of person we're interviewing today. He is a 14-year-old young man, and I use the term young man very lovingly because I have a son who's 15. So I look at Caleb as a young man who is also not just an entrepreneur. He's also a established author. He's a Kids for Success. He's got a subscription business. He talks on stage with all kinds of leaders and icons in their space. He's actually shared a space with Gary Vaynerchuk, who we all know is the social media Yoda. He's also been on with the very crazy, I know this is being recorded, the very crazy and out of control Grant Cardone. And I'm very proud to say, and Caleb, correct me if I'm wrong, you're going to be sharing a stage with the man, Darren Hardy, the creator of Success Magazine, and also the author of The Compound Effect, which I think is a fantastic book. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, and welcome Caleb Maddix. Caleb, how are you, my man?
Yeah, doing great. Really glad to be here. So thank you all so much for your time. You too, and also all of the viewers as well.
Thank you so much. And let me not forget before we continue, my amazing and wonderful co-host, Miss Vicky Fitch, is in the house. You can find her at vickyfitch.com. Vicky has been my co-host since day one, and Vicky keeps me on track. If she doesn't, she knocks me out of the box. So we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to get right, Caleb, 30-minute time schedule here. We want to get right into the questions. And I really want to get understanding from you. What do you call yourself?
An entrepreneur. That's what I call myself.
Okay.
Truly. I mean, I wear a lot of different hats, but what I am is I'm an entrepreneur.
Okay. So define for the members of the audience, like, what does entrepreneur mean to you?
So as far as so let me first tell you a story. So, whenever I was 6 years old, there was this local tea shop. And I went up to the owner of this tea shop and I said, "Sir, I can double your sales today." "What are you talking about? You can't double our sales. You're only 6 years old." I was like, "Yes, sir, I can." He's like, "No, you can't." I said, "Okay, if you don't believe me, I'll show you." So I literally walked outside, and there was this little section where people were walking, past the tea shop. And I went up to people and I said, "Hey, man," I'd go up to a lady and I'd say, "Hey, man, you look thirsty. Here, go into the tea shop." And then one by one, they'd go in. And then I go up to a man, and I kept going to different people. And I was like, "You look thirsty. You need to go into this tea shop." And literally, one by one, they all ended up going in. And this tea shop owner, he's sitting there like, "Wow, this kid, he actually did kind of double my sales today, than normal." And that's what entrepreneur is to me. It's somebody who has something that he believes in and he's selling it. And that's what entrepreneurship is to me. That's what I've always done. So I would say an entrepreneur is somebody who can sell, whether it's through social media, whether it's through cold calls, whatever it is, they can sell, period.
Okay. And so, and that's a great story, Caleb. Thank you for sharing that backstory. So what is it that you particularly want to sell? Like, what's your value to people in selling? I'm curious to know what that would be.
So I do a lot of different stuff. But as far as I go right now, there's three things that I'm really selling. I got my company, Kids for Success. I have my book, which you can kind of see right here in the background. And then also I have my speaking. And I'm adding on some different stuff. But if I had to put it all together out of everything that I do, I'm selling hope. And that's really what I sell, right? Like, I'm letting people know, listen, you have a shot. If you work hard enough, if you work your face off, right? If you work your face off, see it through. If you work your face off, you can do anything. And that's what I'm selling, is I'm selling hope, whether that's through my book, through my speaking, or through my company, Kids for Success.
So when you say you're selling hope, do you have a particular demographic of people that you sell to? And I just have to pause for a second. And I'm just thinking about this for a second. You're selling hope. Now, I have to be honest with you, Caleb. You're 14, right? And you've been on this planet for 14 years. What particular hope are you selling to someone in their 40s who have been married with kids, or would you say that maybe you're selling hope to upcoming entrepreneurs or maybe teenagers? Help me understand what that really means. Okay.
To everybody. And the reason why I'm selling that to everybody, right? The reason why I'm telling them that is because, number one, the kids, because, when it's a kid, they see a kid doing it. They're like, that kid's doing it. And then also I'm selling hope to adults. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of entrepreneur adults out there who are sitting there thinking, I don't know if I can do it. And then they see me and all of a sudden they realize, wait a second, if there's this 14-year-old kid doing it, maybe I have hope to do it as well. So those are it's any message, because I am young doing it. So it's both demographics. But as far as like who I really target, it's those kids. And there's just that effect where a lot of adults get inspired as well.
So, and that's great. And once again, everybody, welcome to the Anthony Conklin Show. We have Caleb Maddix, 14-year-old CEO and author, speaker. He's omnipresent. He's everywhere. We're very excited to have him on the show. So, Caleb, let me ask you this question, kind of turning the page a little bit, is that when did all this happen? When did you say, like, and I read your article in Forbes, you said when you were 6 years old. Let's put the story aside. Let's get the emotion part. Like, what got you feeling like you really want to help people? What happened in your life, particularly, to say, I want to do this? Because it's not about money. It's not about business. It's about, when you say hope is a feeling. It's not something tangible. What happened in your life to say, I got to do something to help someone else's?
So whenever I was 4 years old, my dad took me out. My dad took me outside, and he really, he took me up to homeless people. Every single Friday morning, we gave coffee out to the homeless, and I started to go on mission trips. I started to meet a lot of broken people, and that's what made me do it. It's like I met these people who were broken, who were struggling, and I seen that the world, not even the people who aren't homeless, even the people who just are, they're just middle class people, but they're not happy. Like, even those kids who, they're good kids, but they don't know where they want to go. It was like all these people that I've met throughout my life with my speeches and with the people that I've helped and all this stuff. It made me realize that people, they want to do something. It's just sometimes they don't know how. And I guess that I could say that's what inspired me. It wasn't like that one moment. It wasn't like I got in a car accident or anything like that. I was just like seeing broken people, seeing what they're going through, and realizing, listen, I have an obligation. Not I could. No, I have an obligation to help them.
Right. So, Vicky, I don't know if I thought you were gesturing for a question, but I would say, right, it's something happens in your life to make you do something. It's you want to give hope to somebody, but I guess what I'm trying to get to, Caleb, is what shifted in your life to say, I mean, you see homeless people, but what did it mean feeling wise? I mean, what help me? Can you maybe explain that feeling wise? Like, what was it to say, like, oh my God?
I mean, I was a 14-year-old kid. I mean, I listen. I had bad moments.
You are?
Oh,
let me just keep on. So, like, this is who I am, right? Like, I'm this kid who, listen, I've gone through stuff. I've actually, I can tell you guys a lot of stories that I've gone through. You'd be like, wow, did you really go through that? Like, I have gone through stuff. But other than that, I mean, I've had a pretty good life, right? Like, if I want food right now, I can get it.
Right.
So I guess for me, it was just, I met a kid once. He was 7 years old, and we were, giving out food to all these people. There's like 1,000 people gathered around at this event that we were hosting. And this one kid came up, and the kid goes up to this table, and he says, ma'am, can I please have some food? And this lady says, well, I'm so sorry. We just ran out of food. And this little kid looks down at the floor. It looks like he was about to cry. And he looks at this soggy hot dog bun. It's disgusting. I mean, like, if you've seen it, you would puke. Then he looks at this thing and he says, well, if I can't have any real food, can I at least have that? And I was like shocked. Like, what do you mean you want that? So I ran up to him right away. I was like, what do you mean? Why do you want that soggy hot dog bun? That's disgusting. He said, well, I haven't eaten in 4 days. I need some food. And I think it was just that for me. It's like that feeling that I understand. Listen, I'm 14. Back then I was probably 10 or 11 there. And I see this kid who was pretty much starving, hasn't eaten in 4 days. And that's what made me realize how broken the people are. And that's the feeling that I got.
Right. So that's it. So that was the answer to the question. And I appreciate you saying that, Caleb, because that's what it's all about. Something stuck in your gut to say, I can't watch people starve. I can't watch people not have food. So inspired you, to be the person you are today. So, that's great. So let's talk about sort of where you are with Kids for Success. Tell everybody what Kids for Success is. Why did you create it? What's the purpose of Kids for Success? Where's it going? Give us sort of the 30,000-foot view of it, and then we'll dig deeper.
So Kids for Success is basically, so first of all, I wrote my book, and I had a lot of people reaching out for coaching. A lot of kids, they were like, hey, how can I get coaching from you? I need to, be more successful. So I was like, listen, I started to do like coaching for kids, and sometimes I charged, sometimes I did it for free. And I like every single day I was getting 10 kids reaching out, and I was sitting here saying, listen, I can't do this. I can't give up my time this much. So I thought, what's a way that I can coach kids in a more efficient way? So I came up with Kids for Success, and basically what Kids for Success is I give them a daily video for an entire year once they sign up. It's $20 a month, or they can pay $200 up front, and they get a daily video where I become their daily mentor. And I cover everything. I mean, I cover deeper in those 365 days than if I had a coaching call with them every single month, right?
Right.
Oops. Caleb, you're frozen, sweetheart.
Sorry about that. Sorry,
yeah, you're good. No, you're good. Go ahead. No, you're good.
So I talked to them about goals. I talked to them about habits. I talked to them about, the stuff that they need to hear. That's what motivated me, is I realized I can't give any more of my time, but I still want to help these kids. That's why I started Kids for Success.
And I've had a chance to read it. I admittedly have not read your book, but I did read the reviews on it. It's a fantastic book. Just to call you on the carpet a little bit in a nice way, Caleb, I thought you were going to mail me one, right? You said you're going to mail me one. So I'll give you my address.
Oh, yeah. On the blog. No, seriously. Go ahead and send me your address, and I'll get it out to you.
Great.
Listen, because I did not give it to you, I'll get you a signed copy.
That I appreciate. That's fine. I appreciate
Sounds
that.
Good.
Hey, it's valuable stuff. It's good stuff.
You're precious. I just want to hug you, Caleb. That's all.
Vicky's the best.
I just adore you.
She'll be your blab mom. So
I am. I'm the blab mama. You know that. And I got your back, little man, because you're the bomb. He's adorable.
Thank you. You're the bomb.
Thank you, sweetie.
So Caleb, you've traveled. I know you were in Australia, and your dad seems to be your counterpart. So can you tell me a little bit about your family structure? Like, who's your real support system? Like if Caleb has a bad day, right? Let's say I'm your older brother. You say, let me call Anthony. I got a problem. Like, who do you call when you have issues? Like, who's your go-to person?
Well, to be honest, I only have one person that, in my family at least, that is supportive of me. And that's my dad. Okay. Like, seriously, like a lot of my family members, we grew up in a pretty bad family. Like, they're all crazy. And a lot of them don't support what I'm doing. I mean, literally, some of the biggest family members in my life have sat there and said, your book's not worth $15, or you're an idiot. Why are you doing this? Like, they say that. So they're not supportive. But anytime that I'm ever going through a tough time, my dad, he's right there by my side. I have really great support members. I have really great mentors.
Good.
But the first person is my dad, and as far as my family goes.
That's awesome. Because when you start thinking about where you are, at 14, imagine where you're going to be at 20 years old, right? You said in your Forbes article that you want to be a billionaire by your 30 years old, which I think is an awesome stretch. It's an amazing goal. So I appreciate you sharing that. So once again, everybody, welcome to the Anthony Conklin Show. We're interviewing 14-year-old CEO Caleb Maddix. Caleb is really blowing up on the scene. He's an amazing young man, very bright, very interactive, has a lot of energy. But we're going to dig a little deeper, Vicky. Let's dig a little deeper into Caleb, because Caleb, you know what my show's about. You've probably seen some of my videos. You've seen what I've done. I'm all about why. Now, before we get into the why, other than freedom, because I know in your article you mentioned freedom. Freedom is a good thing to have, but for me, freedom is more esoteric. Like, tell me, why are you doing this? Like, what's your long-term why? Let's say you made $1 billion. What's after that? What's the real why?
Well, listen, I want to give you a different answer, but the truth is, man, it's freedom. Like, if you go deep down, I go deeper with it. I won't just say freedom. It's like, I want freedom for myself. Like, I want to be able to buy something right away. I've seen people that will sit there. Like, I was with one of my somebody that I know the other day, and we were going to the movies, right? Mm-hmm. And literally, we were 2 minutes away from a movie theater, and then there was another movie theater 40 minutes away, and they had a $2 off coupon to the movie theater 40 minutes away. So I said, okay, let's go to this movie theater 40 minutes away. Like for a $2 coupon, they took 40 minutes out of their life.
Right. I
don't want to have to do that. I want to be able to say, okay, I have a free movie here, but you know what? 2 minutes, that's only 2 minutes away. I'm going to go here instead. That's freedom. I don't want to have that life of oh, where's my coupons? No, I want that freedom. I want to be a billionaire. I want that money, right? That's the feeling. But then also to influence other people. The amount of, I've been with people before, especially whenever I was a little bit younger with me and my dad, and we wanted to give to them, but at that current time, we didn't have the money to give to them. We couldn't. Literally, if we wanted to, we couldn't. So it's like, I want that freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want it. And I know that sounds so you're a selfish dude, but listen, that's life.
Caleb, you're not, let me interrupt you, Caleb. You are not being selfish when you say that. I'm telling you, as an older person to you, as I look at you as like a son or a younger brother, you are absolutely not being selfish. And don't ever apologize again. Because if you do, I'm going to call you out on it. I'm calling you out on it.
Well, that's how I feel like. You know what?
No, I think it's great.
That's it, right? I want what I want. It's that simple, and that's what money will bring me. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing,
right?
And I want to be able to give what I want when I want to give it, and those are the two reasons why.
So what I'm hearing here, and Vicky, I want to hear your thoughts on this. You are changing lives, Caleb, when you think about it, because the freedom is the end result. But when you think about the journey that you're on, you're actually changing lives. People like Tony Robbins change people's lives. People like John Maxwell change people's lives. I'm talking people like Jim Rohn changed lives. So you're on this trajectory, this path to change lives. I mean, is that a fair enough statement, Vicky, or anyone else in the room think that's fair or too far off? I mean, I think you're changing lives. You think about what you've accomplished in such a short period of time. Think about the lives you've touched. So I'm thinking about changing lives. So I want to switch gears a little bit because I know we have a couple more minutes before we get to the questions. Vicky, did you have any thoughts or any questions before I go to the next chapter? Or
well, just because you asked a question, but you didn't let any of us answer it. So we would like to answer that for you, is that, he is changing lives. And when you're 14 years old, to be able to look at the world from that perspective, Caleb, there's some questions in the chat box. So I'm going to bring that maternal aspect really quick and just kind of flip it around. They want to know, do you ever goof off? Because that's part of, and I heard your dad, I heard talking a little bit at Summit, but, when you have this really mature perspective, because I was so much like you when I was a kid. And so I love watching you and talking to you, but I know where I made some mistakes of being, a serial entrepreneur at a very young age. And that there's an opportunity to get caught up in that because that's who we are. We're very mature. And so we want to know, do you goof off, and do you goof off like a 14-year-old or a 30-year-old?
If anybody would add me on Snapchat, you would know that we goof off. Like, seriously.
Okay.
I mean, we have some fun. Like, if you watch, we play basketball every single day. We do fun stuff. But even whenever we're doing business, we laugh extremely hard 24/7.
That's great.
It's like we will like lose a $20,000 deal and we'll still smile. It's a weird thing that me and my dad do. So like I goof off, maybe not in the sense like, hey, I'm playing video games. Hey, you're an idiot. I don't say that like not with my friends, like, all that stuff.
Right.
But like in the sense, like I'm laughing, I'm having fun, I'm whooping my dad in basketball, crushing him every single time I look. But like I'm doing that. I have fun, I goof off. But I mean, people are like, you have to be serious to be an entrepreneur. Like I'm the opposite. I'm like, hey, I'm the most fun entrepreneur out there. You're like, because I wanted to play baseball whenever I was younger, right? And you see a lot of athletes. There's like the best athlete, and then there's the other best athlete. And then there's like the one athlete, he has fun all the time, and the other athlete's like really serious. I'm going to be the guy who's having the fun on the court, right? So that's who I am. Whenever I'm doing business, I'm goofing off, but also we like to play some basketball and do other stuff like that.
So it's work hard and play hard. That's really what it is, what you're saying.
That's right.
So make sure you guys follow Caleb Maddix on Snapchat because he'll surprise you with some of his snaps. Caleb, I don't follow you on Snapchat, but I absolutely will now because I definitely want to see all the goofing off that you do because I think that's really important stuff. So
I put up my Snapchat handle in the comments. So
okay, great. Make sure you guys follow Caleb Maddix on Snapchat. Hey, Vicky, I want to get to some of these questions here because we're coming on the 2025 time. I know we have a few minutes before we hit the questions and someone chopping in the box. So do we want to go over some of those questions before we open up the box?
Sure. Caleb, how much time do you have, sweetheart? So do you have some extra time for these people or not? We want to make sure
I got some more time. I could probably go another 13 minutes, maybe.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. That's perfect.
No worries.
That'd be great. Thanks, Caleb, for doing that. Okay. So Vicky, do you want, I know, JS has some questions here, and there were some other questions in the box, but I want to go through a couple of them. So, Vicky, do you want to take one or two, and I'll take one?
However you'd like. I mean, JS was just asking what you think an influencer is, and how how are you an influencer, and what have you specifically influenced others in doing, thinking, or acting? So you can chop that up however you want, but just think the influencer space. Because obviously at 14-year-old, you're not just influencing, the tween group, right? The teens and the tweens. You're influencing adults and people in, future CEOs and stuff like that, and current CEOs. So
are you asking like who is an influencer? How do you as far as what does it mean to influence somebody? Like, is that what you're asking?
14-year-old in your space? And maybe I'm wrong, but that's the question. We'll go ahead and have you answer.
No, I think
So.
I think that's correct. No, I think that's accurate.
Is it like how do you become an expert, or like how do you? Because I just need to know that because there's two different answers.
So let me ask it this way, Caleb. Let me ask this way. So you're 14, right? Tell us what you think an influencer is. Like, not who is, but what's an influencer to you? Like you would say,
an influencer
what does it really
mean? Somebody
mean to
who's like influencing people, right? Who is that? Like, I would say this: it's somebody who doesn't care about how many people show up at their funeral. It's somebody who doesn't care how many. Let me keep going.
Okay.
I know I paused this so I can get you guys.
Yeah, you're gonna have to help me with that one. I'm trying to marinate on that, Caleb.
How many people show up at their funeral? They care how many people cry at their funeral. Now, what I mean by that is so many people are like, oh, I want this many people to show up at my funeral, and that's what I define my life by. No, people show up to funeral, that it happens. But how many people are moved to tears by your life? Not just come to some building to in honor of you, but how many people are moved to tears by your life? Not how many relationships that you have, how many were deep. And that's what an influencer is. It's not like I have a video that has now 2,450,000 views or something now.
That's great.
That's influence, but that's not an influence. That's like that. Now they're inspired, but an influence is whenever those people message me and like I get on the phone with them or I message them back and it starts to become a relationship. Whenever it's deep with somebody, that's what an influencer is. It's somebody who's not like, oh, like whatever, like I help this many people. It's how many did you impact deep, and that's what an influencer is.
Sort of like what I talk about on my snaps is, it's not about the number of people, it's about the people's lives that you impact, right, Caleb? It's about the Caleb.
Exactly.
And I think that's a fantastic way of putting it. So I want to take one more question from the box, and then I have a couple questions. Then we'll open up the seat because I know Caleb's on a limited time. So here's my what's the other question, Vicky? There was another one in the box here. I'd like.
Super busy dads. Well, we can't get them over in the box. I can't get them over there. Are you able to see them on the left?
Issue. That's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the box gift from Super Busy Dad was, Caleb, what do you think your greatest gift is?
My greatest gift. That's a great question. I think my greatest gift is to relate with people. And like what I mean by that is like who I am. I can really relate with I can relate with a 6-year-old kid. I can get on their level. I can relate with a 14-year-old kid. I am 14. I can relate with them. I can sit down with a 40-year-old. I can relate with them. If I have a true conversation with them, I can relate with an 80-year-old. I can relate with them. And like being authentic, I think that's my true gift, is being able to have that relation. I think that's why I'm good at selling, is because I can relate them. I think that's why I'm good with inspiring, is because I can relate with them. I think that's what it is. Because, right. Whenever an adult watches my videos, they're like, I can relate with that kid. That kid's a 14-year-old. I remember being 14 and like he's on fire, right? You can kind of relate a little bit. But then a 7-year-old's like, that kid's my age. Like, I think that's what it is. So, and I'm caught in my own thought here because I have 3 more questions I want to ask you, and then I want to open up the chat box. Tell me what it was like. What time did you wake up this morning, by the way? 5 a.m.
And you're like on point every morning early, because I know you do those early morning.
Pretty much. Right? I mean, there's times whenever we travel, it's like we went to bed at 5 a.m., so we have to. So like it depends, right. But whenever we're home, we're pretty religious with that.
Good. That means you and Vicky are probably on the treadmill at the same time, because Vicky's up at 5 a.m. as well.
There we go. 5 a.m.ers. Look at that.
So you've
I told you, Caleb and I are very
similar.
Gary
Vaynerchuk. I'm sure he put a little bird in your ear on a private note. I'm sure he did, because that's how he is. You've had a chance to meet with Grant. You're going to be meeting with Darren Hardy. So who do you want to meet with next? Like, who's on your list of people to meet, to work with?
Probably. Vicky, we're already about to work.
No, but hold on, wait.
I know you were going to say
Caleb had me at the top of the list, but I moved down a couple notches because Vicky moved into my spot. So it's all good. No, so I know
you guys are equal level, I think.
Oh, thank you. See, he's good. I'm gonna give this guy a hug. So you met Brendan Bouchard as well, and
yes.
We've met him briefly. So if you were thinking about who you want to work with in the next 12 months or so, not just from a celebrity status, more from like, I want to work with them because I want to do work with them, not just stand next to them. Like, listen, we can all. Gary's a great guy. Gary's a great guy. Listen, everyone's great on stage, but who do you want to like entrench your life with? Like, I want to work with that person. Like, who's on your list?
That's a really good question. I have a lot of people that I really want to work with. Somebody that, as far as like meeting and like I dreamless work with, just because that's who they are, is probably Tony Robbins. And not like everybody's sitting there right now knowing that's what I'm about to say, but that's true. Like, you know, I've been watching Tony since I was a little kid. Tony really inspires me. He's the godfather of like the motivation and all this stuff. What he's created, I think I'd really like to work with him. Not even like to work with him for business, to blow myself up, for exposure, all that stuff would be great. But honestly, if he never tweeted about me, if he never Facebooked about me, if he never did anything, just like talk to him and really see what he has to say about my situation. Right. I think that'd be a pretty amazing connection. Well,
Tony is a pretty interesting individual. As you know, Vicky and I had him on the show here one time. We actually spoke with him. He's a pretty life-changing guy. And I don't see why you can't have an opportunity to speak with them or meet with them. You just keep doing what you're doing.
Well, I do have some connections with them, so I'm hoping this year I'll get to meet him and maybe even have a real conversation with him.
Great. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Hey, we got about 5 minutes left, everybody. We're going to open up the seat and have you guys ask some questions of Caleb Maddix, 14-year-old CEO, entrepreneur. He's an author, and he's doing some amazing stuff. So I want to open up the seat. Anybody want to jump in the box? You can ask Caleb a question. He's got about 5 minutes left, so feel free to open up the box. Once again, this is the Anthony Conklin Show with my co-host, Vicky Fitch, interviewing Caleb Maddix, 14-year-old CEO. Any questions? I know we had JS had some questions. Anybody want to jump in the box? Vicky, did you have anything you wanted to? Okay.
I think we answered JS's questions, but well, Caleb, like I said, first of all, while we're waiting for somebody to jump in there, I'm just going to give you some kudos because, I know you get a lot of accolades from people and we appreciate that about, and as entrepreneurs, it's always nice, but having somebody, I always say from that maternal perspective is having somebody love you for you, not for who you're going to be or what you've done or what you will do. I just want you to know that I think you are a really precious guy. I really do. Just getting a chance to meet you, your demeanor, the respect you have for other people supersedes your business acumen and your skill set. And so I want you to hold that. For me, that's what I want you to hold on to, is that you are a really great person inside, regardless of the rest of this stuff. And I want you to hold on.
I'm going to save that and I'm going to watch it every single day. That meant the world to me.
That's awesome.
Good. That's an excellent idea, sweetheart, because we have to be reminded by somebody who does care about us, just cares about us, just thinks we're a rock star, no matter what, no matter if we ever live stream or speak or write another book.
I have to echo that, Caleb. When I met you a year ago, I saw you have a good soul. You really do. And I don't care how many millions or billions you make. I just think you're a good kid, a cook kid. This is loving. This is because I'm a dad. You're a good kid, meaning you're a good person. And I think you have a lot of great things in store for you. And as I always tell people too, you got to surround yourself with really strong people that have your best interests at heart, that want you to become, because all this entrepreneur stuff and all this success is nothing if you can't give a piece of yourself away. Giving money is one thing, but if you can't give a piece of yourself and have that carry forward, then it doesn't mean anything. Then what your true freedom to me is, and I'm going to turn it over to JS, is fulfillment. And your fulfillment comes from you by giving it to somebody. And I'm happy to say that I'm in the legend seats of Yankee Stadium watching you do that. And I hope I get a chance to continue to watch you do that. So.
Thank you. You guys are awesome.
You're more awesome.
I started working when I was 9, but I wasn't as smart as you, and it wasn't a great job. But anyway, I was a poor kid, and I couldn't. My mother couldn't afford to give me money for the ice cream man. So one of the things I did was work to get not just the dime for me, but for the 3 other poor kids that also couldn't afford ice cream. So I appreciate
awesome.
I appreciate that aspect of you about helping people. And Blab is a great platform for that. We are a community here. We help one another. There were 2 other parts to that question about influencers. Specifically, I'm writing a book about influencers. And you're very interesting, and I'd like to put you in the book.
Thank you.
How specifically do you think you – and then there's one last question, which might be a good end to this. How specifically are you influencing people? Is it the way you'd like to be influencing them, or are there other ways you'd like to be influencing them? And then just something to think about. Is all this about Caleb Maddix because he's a 14-year-old wonder kid, or is the fact that you're 14 really not enter into it, and it really wouldn't matter what age you were? You see what I'm saying? It's like sometimes we look at something like this as almost, I don't want to use the word freakish, but you know what I mean. We don't expect this.
Yeah, we've been called weird.
You don't expect this kind of behavior from a 14-year-old.
We've been called
I was
freaks of
called
nature,
it when
right,
I was
Caleb?
younger.
We know.
So maybe
Prodigy, right?
prodigy, if you will.
I'm a freak. I know Prodigy. I'm a freak. That's right.
I'm a super freak. I'm a super
right?
freak.
That's right. We own it, right,
so
Caleb?
What do you think of the question that Jay asked you? I think it's a great question.
To be honest, I mean that's one of those things I can't answer because I don't know what would really happen. Deep down, I do believe that even if I wasn't like this 14-year-old wonder kid, I think I would eventually blow up. I probably wouldn't have blown up as quick as I am. You know, like the fact that this video I have that has 2,400,000 views or whatever. I have it says 40 seconds of motivation from a 14-year-old. If I would have said 40 seconds of motivation from a 32-year-old, it wouldn't have blown up. So to be honest, I would have blown up as quick, but I know I would have blown up. And the reason why is there's a lot of talent that goes into it. You know, I know how to do social media. I know how to use that stuff. There's a lot of practical stuff that goes into it that uses that. I mean, I know how to network with people. I know how to connect, like all that stuff that goes into it. I would blow up. It would probably just take 4 to 5 to 6 years, like, you know, it takes most people if they're really putting it in. But I would blow up, but just take a little bit longer. But I'm very blessed to be 14, so it's a pretty amazing thing.
And how do you feel you're influencing people at this point?
I'm influencing people. It depends on the relationship that I have with the person, right? You know, so if it's like a far away influence, most of the time I'm just inspiring them. But if I talk to them one-on-one, there's a lot of different stuff that goes into it. I think the number one way that I influence people is by inspiring them and by letting them know. That's a tough question, but I'd say it's like giving them some sort of practical tips, right? As well, it's letting them know that they can get somewhere, and then giving them some practical tips to get there. I think that's what it is. But it comes back to inspire them because of my age and because who I am.
Right, so you're inspiring them to take action. That's what it sounds like, right, Caleb? Vicky,
yes,
I think that's what it is, and that's really the way to put it. JS is, you know, he asked the hard questions. I'm glad he hopped in the seat.
If I can do this, I think one of your greatest gifts is the fact that you are eminently likable.
Yeah.
And during this journey of you're going to be going through all kinds of changes and influences and things like that. And just remember, there's something great about people liking you and being likable. It doesn't mean you can't be yourself, but don't lose focus on that.
Yeah,
because that's a great gift that you have right now. We
that's awesome.
Fist bump. Yeah.
There we go.
JS, thanks for hopping in the seat. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hey, once again, this has been the Anthony Conklin Show with my co-host, Vicky Fitch. We've been interviewing 14-year-old CEO, author, speaker, world traveler, and I want to call him like my little brother almost because I like him.
I'm your little brother. You're my big bro.
It's good stuff. It's all good stuff. That's okay.
That's true.
That would make me his mama, and I don't want to be his mama. Just saying, because I'm your mama. I'm your lab mama.
Maybe 2.5.
I don't want to be his mama. That's just freaking
I'm so
me
glad.
out. I'm only 22. Remember?
Here, we're going to wrap up the interview in about 2 minutes or so. I just want to say thank you to everybody for joining here today, and for all of the There were some influencers that are in the room, and I want to say hi to them. Thank you for taking the time to join us here today. Before we go, we like to wrap up by letting everybody know where we can find each other. So, Vicky Fitch, Vicky, where can they find you, my amazing co-host?
Well, as you guys know, you guys can go to vickyfitch.com. I'm a direct sales expert, an author, speaker, mentor, and business consultant, and I would love to help you guys. So come check it out and definitely follow Anthony Conklin. As you guys know, Anthony is a major rock star, and he's going to exit himself. But I want you guys to know that he's been really delivering a lot of value here, and he's bringing people to you like Caleb Maddix, which, Caleb, don't forget, you are supposed to be on my show, love. Your dad has not responded back to me. I'm going to have to start communicating.
There you go. There's your answer.
That's how you get it done.
I know. He told me in January he was going to have you guys on in February, and
Hey,
I'm
I'll
like,
do it. I'll do it.
It's almost May. It's almost May, Matt. So anyway, anyway.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Hey,
we're gonna
my
have
name is
fun,
Anthony
sweetheart.
Conklin.
So anyway,
This is
Anthony,
the
you're
Anthony Conklin
rock star,
Show, where
so
we
go ahead,
interview
I'll
leaders and
turn it
icons in
over
the
back to you.
industry. This has been a pretty unique interview for us because we get a chance to interview somebody who's literally at the beginning of the swell of his career, who's going to just do some amazing stuff. I'm getting emotional because I like him like a younger brother. I'm going to hopefully influence him in a good way and give him some guidance and just watch his career explode like a rocket, because he's going to just do some really, really great stuff. You can find me here on Blab at Anthony J. Conklin. You can also check me out at anthonyjconklin.com. I am a transformational keynote speaker. I help entrepreneurs connect their passion and purpose by building a bridge called Why. Caleb Maddix, please tell everybody where they can find you.
Add me on Snapchat. That's the place. At Caleb Maddix 13. At Caleb Maddix 13. I have some fun over there. We're doing a lot of cool stuff on there. So add me on Snapchat and also on my Facebook as well. So just type in my name on Facebook. You'll see a little verified tick. Click on that page, like it, and we'll connect through there as well.
Great. Verified.
That's so cute the way he reminds you he's verified at 14.
verified.
Like, you know,
I'm verified.
seriously, like he's verified. Oh, yeah. We know what it is, baby. We know what it is.
He's great. We have to just take him on vacation
You're
next time.
so adorable. I swear, I just want to hug you.
As I like to end all of my recordings, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. I love each and every one of you. Look in the mirror tonight before you go to bed and say you have greatness within you, in the infamous words of Les Brown. Live your life to the max, and we'll see you real soon.